What up, dog?
It's so ripe in here. Phil is hotboxing us in, so we got it straight.
I'd never do anything like it. It's a first, right, guys?
Yeah.
We got the two brothers-in-law.
I thought the first time I was going to ever be on would probably be like a video. When you first started doing them,
yeah.
It was like video chatting or something like that. I think you did a couple of those, right? On YouTube?
Yeah, we tried doing it live for a little while, but it was too stressful because, like me and you were just talking about editing.
Yeah, like how many hours you cut out.
Yeah, and I know if I say something stupid, I don't have to worry about it because I'm going to be able to take it out in post, and so I'll just cut it out. When you're doing it live,
when you can't cut that out. Yeah.
Somebody slips up and says a racial slur.
Yep. There's a glitch in it.
Racial? Yeah. What is that? What do you mean racial? Yeah, well, give me an example.
Man, this eye will not quit water. Good Lord. So yeah, whatever made, you guys just showed up at my door. And I was like,
yeah, dude.
No, how does that
this is how it worked. I got off work yesterday.
We got John and we got Kenny. I think we've made reference to you guys a couple of times on the show.
Yeah, a couple.
But we've never, and then of course you did the song that we played a while back. That was your brainchild, John.
I think it was like a conglomeration of like little snippets of what people have said,
and then some you made up
throughout the time,
yeah.
and then some just made up.
Some that you recorded.
But then some I obviously stole a lot of that.
Give me a yeah.
Because a lot of that stuff like throughout childhood or like listening on music,
right? Like
depending on what type of music you listen to,
right?
You can basically make a snippet of anything.
So I figured, well, you guys showed up and. We've had a pretty good day. Gossiping, telling all kinds of stories.
Absolutely.
Y'all been talking about
4 beers deep.
Too busy taking naps because of the meals that we're missing out on.
Yeah, he only had 1 meal today, so he's definitely
a lot of
lacking.
inside jokes created today. I'll tell you that much.
Yes,
true.
Whether institutionalized or
the institutionalized.
Whether it's in the college or in behind bars, one of the two. We can. Yeah, but anyway, you were about to start about saying like how this all started. So last night we got off work and my brother planned to come up here for a wedding. And he's like, hey, I'm going to be swinging down to Phil and Missy's. You mind coming up? And I was like, yeah, I'll come up. And so we just, brought our bags and just showed up on your porch. We came into your house, dude. You're picture perfect hillbilly or redneck. Or what. Yeah. We come in your house and you're in bibs. One titty hanging out.
I thought I seen a titty slip.
I was like, dude, what has he done?
You guys thought that was on accident.
You're right. It was a flip there. Dude, it was just the epitome of West Virginia. Every time I come here, I get a little more bite and a little more taste of what West Virginia is.
It does. It gets a little more.
There's nothing wrong with it, dude. It's like a cultural thing, man.
It is. It's
you know what I mean?
Different.
Every state you go to, like for instance, went down to Mississippi. I don't really think anything's really rubbing off on you down there.
Now are they redneck down there?
No, we're right on the coast, so I mean, a lot nicer than if you go higher up into like Hattiesburg area of Mississippi. It kind of.
So you're getting like more of the tourists.
Did they get like a hurricane or something? We had to send relief down there to them?
No.
Haiti?
Oh, that's Haiti. My bad. All right, my bad. I haven't been out of Pennsylvania. Lived there 28 years. What? I'm pretty sure he said Haiti.
No, Hattiesburg.
Anyway.
But it's not really too crazy down there. More just right on the coast for like tourist area, So
it gets more redneck the farther north you go. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it does. You got to head towards West Virginia for that one. But,
head towards Mecca, boys.
Got that buck tooth going on there. Just one tooth bucking. That's it.
We can buck some teeth like nobody business.
Dude, it's wild.
What?
Not to cut you guys off or anything. Dude, we're uncles now.
Yeah, how about that?
It still hasn't set in. Yeah, because every time I look over, someone's holding the baby, and I'm just like, the Spider-Man meme where you're like pointing at each other, like, who's that? Who's that?
Yeah. Dude, it still hadn't set in with me yet that, that's my kid.
Oh, I thought you were an uncle too. My bad. Not for a second.
Should have hit that.
Good point. Wait, oh yeah, I forgot about that. There we go.
Wait, who's the father?
That's the Spider-Man right there. Everybody pointing at each other.
Got it.
Yeah, it still ain't quite set in. I'm getting more used to him now. starting to figure him out a little better. But yeah,
the more you look at him, though, he kind of looks like Missy, you know. But
there's times,
yeah, and then he smells like you, though, that dirty diaper. You know?
Oh goodness.
What do you guys want to go into any? Because I remember me and Miss talked one time about her being on the mission field. You guys want to go into any of that?
Sure.
You want to talk about any of that?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you guys are both younger than Miss. So I guess my first question is, like, I'm curious, what do you first remember? Is that like your earliest memories was being on the mission field, or do you guys remember before you went over?
I remember.
Well, you don't really remember anything when you're 1.5 when you first go over.
So that's when you went.
He was young.
Memories are vague.
Yeah,
I remember.
I only remember. First off, nothing. But then you start remembering
all the trauma experiences.
You remember all the flights you had to be on flying over there for sure.
Yeah.
I remember my dad's pastorate in Arizona. I remember the 6-foot snow drifts and stuff like that. I remember
that's where you all were at right before we
went to Papua New Guinea.
Okay.
I remember jumping off a porch and getting a head full of cactus bushes that my dad always talks about that story.
And he fell on his head.
And then I remember this kid.
That's what's wrong with him.
I'm just going to get kind of backfeedy as far back as I can remember. I think it was like 3. I remember when I lost my mind.
Jeez, we was all hanging on every word. Like,
listen. No, dude. No, this. No, but there's this one kid. His name's Stephen Ray. I think he's in the
penitentiary.
He's in the,
yes, he is.
he's in the clink right now. I don't know why. I believe I heard that he was trying to create a straw man theory. If you want to Google what straw man theory is, it's kind of like a fall guy. Basically, it's like misrepresentation in court and stuff like that. His lawyer kind of set him up. Anyway, straw man theory is like basically having a fall guy. From what I gather,
I thought he went to the pen for threatening his girlfriend.
Right. Yeah. That's what. But he said there's a straw man theory in it, and I'm assuming
so he's saying he was set up.
Right. Anyway, regardless of the fact, he's crazy, right? So,
yes, that's what I was going to say.
And the reason I'm telling you he's crazy is because I don't know if this was one of the first traumatic experiences in my life other than falling on my head in a cactus bush at 3, but he was out in the middle of the field in the Arizona. We're on a mountain. It's Flagstaff, Arizona. And this kid's out there dressed up like an army soldier, screaming at the top of his lungs. I don't know what. But it was enough to make me scared and run home. I'm standing there with my red Flyer wagon. And this would be a perfect picture because you just, you paint me there with my red wagon and my, Salvation Army clothes my parents could barely afford. And I'm staring at this kid out here living his fantasy, screaming, But yeah, that's
like
where
Thomas Kincaid.
And when you thought it couldn't get any worse or better,
we went to the mission field.
Boom, we're in a mission field. So
Son of a gun.
Yeah, that's the kind of opening credits to a movie, and then boom, you're out in the middle.
Yeah, like a horror movie or something. Good Lord.
Bum.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So you remember a little bit before you went, and then it just
that's it, and then everything slips after.
How'd you wind up there? Like, did your dad always feel like he needed to go to the mission field? Your mom? I guess I could have asked him when he was on, but I never thought to ask him about this last time he was on.
So yeah, he didn't have it very crazy, I would say, but it was rough for him as a kid. So
I've heard him talk about
I know when he converted and everything, his dad was totally against him, kind of preaching or going overseas to, witnessing
to
and
anybody,
really, yeah, of course,
but especially
the
black community and black culture.
His dad wasn't a fan
custom stuff like
not
that.
at all.
Absolutely
wow.
Not. But hey, that's that generation back then, dude. People were just
there was a lot of that back then. Yep.
His dad was really rough, but my dad loved him even more for that, just because my dad wanted to be like his dad. So it kind of moved out that way. And his dad always said if he loved it so much, why didn't he paint his rocks black? So my dad was out there for about 45 years doing that. But on the other side.
Painting his rock black.
Exactly.
Jeez.
Yeah, the whole driveway looked like a solar panel.
Where's Byron when we need him to put some input?
Like the whole driveway.
But
So he winds up. You guys wind up. It was Papua New Guinea, right?
first,
Yeah.
it was about 5.5 years, right? But not consecutive. We were over there for about 4 years, and then we came back on furlough for a year, and then we went back for a year and a half, and then transitioned from there to Africa. So Ghana, Africa, which was cool.
The first term, what was it, 4 years? First 4-year term was in the Highlands. There was a couple places, Waterbabe, Lombo.
He's making it up now. No, I'm just kidding.
No, these are literal names. Waterbabe, Lombo, and there's another one, Mount Hagen, Port Moresby. These are a couple of places that we were at. Port Moresby was the capital of Papua New Guinea. We went there our second term there before we kind of split off and went to Ghana, Africa.
Either split off or were split off.
Yeah, it was a split. There was a split off there.
Our time was cut.
Time was cut.
Yeah. And we flew in and out of there.
You're done.
Yeah.
Hey, guy, you're done.
Y'all pack your crap and you get out of here.
Yeah, TikTok, you're done. And we flew in and out of that island back and forth from Mount Hagen with our supplies and stuff like that on 206 Cessna 206s.
I see.
And that's a great experience, dude, especially when you're
I can only
child.
imagine. Yeah, and you're a kid, yeah. So Missy looks back at, if I remember correctly, when me and hers talked about it, she looks back at New Guinea as like she likes it. You know, she got fond memories.
Absolutely. I would definitely go back to Papua New Guinea.
She tells me so. She's
I would
like, I'd
love.
like you to see
I was
it.
actually looking up tickets to go back
Really?
to see. It's like 20 grand, dude.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Son
I
of a
don't
gun.
know why. I was picking the cheapest tickets. Like I was like, hey, I'll classify as a dog. Put me in a crate.
So all these people, I can't imagine there's a lot of people wanting to go to New Guinea for the tickets to be that high.
Yeah, no, because I think it's where we're flying from. We always flew out of LAX. So if you think about it, you fly out of LAX, you're on the West Coast. Guess what's the West Coast? Hawaii, Guam, New Guinea. So we probably fly from there to Hong Kong. I remember stopping in Hong Kong or Singapore or something like that. From there to Australia, and then from Australia right to Papua New Guinea. Wow. But if you fly out from the East Coast, you're either going to have to fly all the way across the U.S. to the West Coast and then kick that way. I don't know which way is shorter, or fly all the way across Europe.
Now you guys, I think I remember asking Miss about her. She's told me or whatever. She said y'all had cannibals. What, like how many? It was close by, right?
Yeah. Well, no, they were one generation from one generation. Their last. So imagine your grandparents were cannibals, and they did eat each other. They did it as a fear tactic. They would fight for whatever reason they were doing.
Status.
Yeah, and they would.
So that's what it wasn't like, dude, I prefer the taste. It was like, I'm going to scare you to death.
Those were prior generations, I'm assuming.
So there were people? There used to be people that were like?
Yes. That we actually met the grandparents that they're like, yeah, it kind of tastes like chicken. And we're like, I think I'd rather eat a chicken. But
a quick aside, CNN had some dude eating human brain on their show. One of the reporters. He was at India. Apparently, there's this community of people in India.
India?
Yeah, seriously. And this river like floods or whatever, and floods these cemeteries, and these dead bodies float down the river, and this tribe of people grabs those bodies, takes them in, and eats them. Well, this CNN reporter, I don't remember who it was. I'll have to look it up, see who it was. On actual TV, dude, he's there interviewing, and this guy's like, here, you want some human brain? And the guy tries it. Right? And I'm like, dude, you can never come back from that. You're the guy, you ate a person.
I feel like you watched a little bit too much of Hannibal Lecter and put CNN right on it and said, how's it taste? That smells good back there.
Yeah, I don't like, how did that not make more of a ruckus?
Yeah, I'm surprised someone didn't say something. What kind of guidelines are?
I feel like I'd get fired. Like if I picture me in a Moseball
was he
truck
like,
just gnawing on the leg.
Was he like a CNN journalist over there in India? Okay, that makes sense. Dude, I thought he brought this dude over from India. I was like, hey.
Oh, no.
Did you quarantine for 2 weeks? Are you wearing your mask? Dude, try this brain, bro.
No, he was doing it for TV. Still, yet that seems odd to me. So they used to really chow down over there, but they pretty well stopped by the time you got to.
Well, I mean, we really, I will say that they you'd have to venture out to find it.
I bet, dude. You roll up on
it's still there. It's still there for sure. There is a lot that you don't know until you're in it. You know what I mean? So that being said, my dad would be really a good one to ask about that. I know.
Yeah.
I know they more than likely probably had some plans of eating our whole family at one point, but
had some plans.
Wouldn't get any meat off of you, dude. You only had like one meal a day.
We'll get into that one.
We should get into that one. You had quite the lively conversation there just a little bit ago.
Yeah, I wish that video camera was turned on, dude. You would have so much footage.
That was a good one.
My dad's like, "You were sleeping."
Made me feel like I was a guilty one when I didn't have enough energy to stay awake, so I took a nap.
Yeah,
we talked about that a little bit. Was that when you were in New Guinea, or was that an Africa thing? Because Miss says that Africa was like
Africa really
hell.
Yeah, excuse me. Africa really. Well, it's because I believe Africa was so new. Papua New Guinea already had a couple missionaries there prior to us. The Taylors, they were there I think they're still there, and then someone before them. But Africa was kind of a new border, new front line, especially Nigeria. Because
we've had listeners in New Guinea before, so I don't know who's listening over there right now, but you probably remember.
Yeah, pretty cool.
If you remember these little white dudes, they used to be over there. Sorry, John. Go ahead.
Like, does it say where?
It was around Port Moresby, I think.
Dude, that's pretty cool.
If I remember right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, shout out Port Moresby. This is Jonathan Rigsby and Kenneth Rigsby. We out here trying to get back here, but it's too expensive. Go to my GoFundMe. Hit me up.
These streets are rough.
It's not dinar. What is it? It's not pay. Oh, what's the money called? Dude, how do you not remember this?
I was 1.5. I like to reiterate that. And I was sleeping.
What exactly doing people's taxes?
Dude, I've been so many countries. I can't even remember what it was. Kina. Boom. That's right. Daddy got it. Kina. Send me some Kina so I can come over there.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, shout out Port Moresby.
So tell me about the starving thing. We talked about this a little bit. This was in New Guinea?
This wasn't that
was Africa.
Well, we were
that was Africa.
That was Africa.
Okay,
yeah.
That makes more sense. So New Guinea was pretty much just.
New Guinea was pretty good. The first time we went there, we had a place to stay, a lot better, kind of like more first world ish for us.
Yeah.
Africa was kind of the same way, first world ish, but there was some hiccups that were along the way that
well, I think
got experience from that. We probably didn't need to experience, but
yeah, I think you got that kind of mixed up though. I think Port Moresby was closer to first world, and Lombo and everything like that.
You don't think Lombo was?
No, that's more like second, maybe almost third.
I mean, we had a roof and walls.
And,
you know?
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna be living in like.
Was the floors wooden? Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it was because we crawled around under that house.
So we had to build our own house. That house
when you guys got there.
Yeah, so it was either just finished or we helped finish it. So we spent a lot of time building, but there was also part of it, in Africa it felt first world, but it wasn't like it was still like people driving crazy. We lived right outside of the main capital, but it's more of something that you would have to still go out, get your own stuff, but still get robbed if you aren't careful.
So it's a bit rough when it comes to all that. Huh.
Yeah, it was crazy, but it also just the life also depends on how much you make versus so just to put food on the table was different because there's a certain amount that, let's say, the organization we were with would say, this is how much you need to live, and then not throw in, hey, inflation happens over years, so you account for that. Well, their numbers weren't adding up. It was
sometimes
about 30 years old.
Governments things get kind of wonky.
Wait, you said something about 30 years old?
Yeah, so
that would be like their numbers?
I'm just saying, it's literally like so long ago, they don't keep them updated because I'll tell you, living off 2 meals a day or not knowing where the next meal is coming from is crazy. But
so they wouldn't like keep track of you guys? Like you'd think. So I would think like if I'm an organization, I'm like, oh, yeah, we want you to go spread the word over there. It's a pretty important deal.
Oh, of course. It's like you volunteer.
Yeah.
And our parents volunteered, which that's awesome. You know what I mean?
It was good. It's honorable.
Of course. It's great. But then again, it's crazy because if you volunteer, you think that you get taken care of a lot better than what could happen or shouldn't happen, but it does. So that's a big one that you can open up that can of worms if you want. And I'm sure over time it will get open, but it's just sketchy, man. Like, there's a lot of stuff you don't account for. And it's crazy when you ask your mom to make like a certain meal that you had at one point, and then you're like, oh yeah, she'll remember, but then she'll bust out and crying because she doesn't know what she actually threw together. She just grabbed whatever she had, threw it in a pot, and that was the meal. I'm trying to remake it, and she's like crying her head off. I'm like, what did I say?
Yeah,
and it's different. So
to me, it seems like if my job, say they sent me out of town for something, which occasionally will happen, if they just sent me out of town for 4 years and we're like, we ain't really going to keep that close to tabs on you, Phil.
Figure it out.
To me, I'd be a little bit ticked.
Dude, it almost makes you feel like, were my parents really missionaries or were they mercenaries?
It makes you wonder what the organization thought of you guys. Like, just dump them out. I got them little kids.
Yep.
Don't worry about if the inflation's hitting in.
Yep. That was a big thing that I seen was I don't know. I have more of a business mindset now.
Sure.
Me running my crew of guys with my own business, I take care of my guys. So a lot of the money that I make sure that they get most of it, but still make sure the business grows. That's the way I run, so that I know that my guys are taken care of, because at the end of the day, that's how I make my money. So I kind of look at it as a business aspect. And so with my parents over there doing that, I would have thought the organization would look at it the same way. They're the employees.
Yeah.
I have to make sure that they're happy so they stay. And the more money it is a business, if you will. So the more that they're over there and they're reporting back to us, the better it looks that we can make offerings or we can get offerings and stuff like that, so that you can raise the money to provide for your employees, right?
Let me ask you this real quick before I cut you off. Do you recall the communication method that we utilized? Like, we didn't have cell phones, bro.
No, so the big thing was,
I think we went to like internet cafes and wrote emails.
And
that's it.
That was it?
That was it, bro.
It.
So
There's
like,
no phone
if
calls.
no one checks their email, like, let's say we message them.
Now wait, I would hope they would have a dedicated guy be like, your job is to check your email.
But dude, this was back in 1990. Okay, 9, 4, 3, 2. So we left in 99. So we're dude, they didn't have smartphones.
No, that's
so it's not like someone could have had it at home. And the organization we had
when they had
didn't believe,
and
they didn't believe in having internet in the home.
That was the thing.
They didn't believe in having internet in the home. So
go ahead, hit that button. Hit that button.
So
Which
the only
one?
Yep.
So my leg, I broke my leg. So the only person that would know would be the person coming and showing up for work. So listen here. You got an organization that doesn't believe in having internet in the home. Boom. So that means you're gonna have to go to a workplace to do it outside the home. 2, you have an organization that doesn't believe in working on Sunday. So
nobody's going to the office.
Nobody's going to be on Sunday. So now let's say you need money wired to you ASAP. You send an email, let's say on Friday, it's an emergency. Everyone gets off work early on Friday, right?
Right, sure.
Everyone, right?
Time change.
And there's a time change. So you're probably adding, 3 or 4 days before you hear anything back?
Son of a gun.
Dude,
that's crazy.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, so you're really only working about 4 days a week, because that's the only communication that you're actually going to get feedback. And it's not fast feedback, because I mean, you're going to a third world or whatever country that you're in at the time. So when you send that email,
who knows what happens to that email on the way there? It's from an internet cafe. Could have got hacked.
Right.
Could have went to the spam folder.
An internet cafe.
So technically,
don't think of a cafe as a cafe now.
Coffee shop.
They don't serve coffee though. So
yeah,
it's just like a container with some computers. So
out in the middle of nowhere.
In the back of some dude's truck.
Yeah.
A PMV, I think they call it.
Yeah, PMVs.
Dude, so that's crazy. So basically, you
that
were
was our
there
only
by
means of communication.
That is insane. So,
hey, yo, kids are starving. You know what I mean?
There wasn't even no landlines. I mean,
no, zero,
bro. No.
Jeez. So you're sent there by Bible Missionary Church, but technically you're kind of on your own.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because there's
100%.
something goes wrong.
100.
Gee whiz, man. To me, that cracks me up because I was thinking about as you were talking about. I was like, our only method of communication is email.
I felt like we were
with
lone
a church
survivor.
that doesn't believe in the internet.
I felt like lone survivor, dude. Now here's this. This is even crazier. This is even crazier. When we were in Papua New Guinea, what do you think our method of communication was there? A CB radio, bro.
No.
So
That wasn't for the States.
That's what I know.
That was
for
to
Mount Hagen.
Yes.
Or MAF to come pick us up because one of us got
Yes.
decapitated.
And that's if it even gets through, depending on the weather. Because if it rained every single day,
Depending on who hears us
So-
screaming in the radio.
it's like an SOS message. Like
So,
never gets there.
my leg.
So the only way you make connection to the U.S. is CB radio to Mount Hagen. Hopefully you talk to the mission house, they call it, where we would go and stay when we were getting supplies. Hopefully there's someone there that's awake that hears it, and then hopefully they have a connection point where they can call or send an email to the U.S. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, there's no direct communication. You're out there, dude.
That seems like such a terrible system. Like nobody really thought it through. They're
Well,
just
of course they didn't. It's because it was for Jesus. You know what I mean? I mean, how far are you going to listen? How far do you think you have to think to become a disciple or martyr? Not very far, dude. All you got to do is put yourself in a real sticky situation where people don't want to listen to what you're saying, and that's it. It's over.
Crucified.
Oh, it's okay. They're martyrs. Yeah, I mean, dude.
Well, just think about the 5 brothers.
All
that
I
flew
hope
out to the Indian
tribes, exactly.
Yep. And
All I hope
they
is
were
everyone
trying-
gets a free day off of work. If we die, you know what I mean? Get a holiday. We just get a holiday out of it.
This sucker got dark real quick.
I know.
This is interesting. Gee whiz.
Yeah.
That still cracks me up.
Email.
Internet, but we don't believe in internet.
Right. But,
yeah, but back to like the food side, you know what I mean, and the money and everything. I think honestly, I don't even know the numbers just off the top of my head, but it was not enough to even put food on the table for any point of time, because like say we had a lot of checkups, if you will. So like one of our general moderators or whoever they are, higher up, you know what I mean? They come out and they check on how we're doing.
How often was that? How often was the
I
checkup?
think every 2 years, right?
I believe it's 2 years. Yeah.
Oh,
My time was right.
boy.
Year, whatever.
Dude,
A lot can happen.
happen in
Right,
2 years. Dude, a lot
exactly.
happened in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You come back and
Okay.
what used to be a family of 15. It's like
Lasting
3
2
people.
minutes. Lasting 2 minutes is very hard. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So they'd come check up on you.
Yeah, they come by, check up on us, and it's crazy because like they come out and you know they're very sweet people, and they don't really know what you go through. They live in their first world country, the United States, and just kind of just assume everything's going as good as it should.
Mm-hmm.
maybe not even
But it
that.
never
just
does,
assume
you
God.
know?
Just assume God's there to help. Like I
Actually,
get
I'm
it,
sure,
dude.
I'm sure. Yeah, he is.
God's
you
there
know?
to help. God's there to be that guiding light, or however you want, whatever religion you believe, or whatever you want to believe. He's there for you, he or it. But dude, there's some things God leaves up to, or the universe leaves up to humanity to do.
Oh, I believe we got to help ourselves.
And
I really do.
dude, if you're not
Yeah.
helping yourself,
Yeah.
he's not gonna sit there, or it's
How
not
can-
gonna sit there and hand feed you.
Yeah, how can
Yeah.
God provide if you can't even
Yeah,
help
he don't
yourself
expect-
to help yourself to get to the point
Exactly.
that you can provide
That's the way I
also.
feel.
I
you
mean,
know
even
what I
if
mean?
you
So-
believe it, you know what I mean?
But yeah, so like we'd have these people come down and they're checking us out and they're like, "Wow, yeah, everything's going great." Doing the visiting around to the churches that we help build, and my dad doing amazing and making signs and just starting beautiful churches, teaching a lot of like just reading and writing. So there's a lot of stuff. We have the Bible translated into their language.
Uh-huh.
There's so much work that I appreciate looking back on. And it is pretty amazing what actually happens. But also it's just like, that's just the minute area that you see. That's the work, and it's 100% work.
Yeah.
There's
Sure it is.
there's really, I wouldn't say there's any pleasure in it. It's all work. And and you can see just your parents wearing down over that period of
I
time.
can only imagine.
And
yes,
and then so like they'll come over and they're checking everything out, and they wanted to make us breakfast, which was awesome, as kids, and we're like, wow, yeah, we're gonna have American food because I'm what 9 at this point.
I don't know, dude.
Only been to the States for 1 year, but that's pretty cool. And so they're about to make.
He was a foreigner at this point.
He's basically a native
American.
He's a native, dude.
I have my green card, but, so we're working on it. I might not even have it, but so so we're excited as kids and everything, and it's early in the morning, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make you breakfast." They go to the pantry, open it up, and we call it the pantry, but it's just a closet. And they're like,
closet.
"Oh, okay, cool."
An empty closet.
Empty closet. So then they go and wake up our parents like, "Hey, where do you hide all the food?"
Where do you
Hide.
Bruh.
We play hide and seek with our food. No,
It's all under the bed.
Exactly.
Jeez.
It's just like, no, we're not hiding our food. This is how much you're paying us. This is how we're living off of rocks and leaves. And that's a big thing is like, hey, how are we supposed to survive if we don't have anything? And
right.
they're looking for the food. We're like, hey, we don't have food. We just kind of, we live off a bare minimum. So good luck making us breakfast, right? So, and for me, as a kid, I had like a real bad sugar problem. So I was sleeping all the time because you need energy to stay awake. And it was easier to sleep. But
did you ever get a diagnosis for that at all? Or did you just kind of grow out of it?
No, you kind of start eating. But the biggest thing...
That was clutch, dude. That was so good. That was a good setup. People thought we were serious.
You just gotta start eating.
Wonderful.
I'm like, do you ever grow out of it? And he's like, no, you just start eating.
You just start growing.
You just go back to the U.S. and get the nutrition that you need to grow.
Wow.
But yeah, so, and then they actually just bust into like, just tears, just crying their head off, just because they don't, you can't even blame them because they don't understand. They don't know what's going on. And that was the big thing that we seen was it was just like, really, how don't you know what's going on? Because, hey,
one email a week, dude.
We come back from the field and we look like we just came back from the Holocaust. So it's like,
yeah, they busted into tears and just,
yeah, they started crying their head off. And then I think they radioed or called or emailed, I guess, because they don't have anything, right? So they just called back to the States and made some changes here and there. And
did it get better after that? Did your situation get better?
I wouldn't say better because you can do your best to make something better like that, but you've already been going through it for 8 years. You can't make
was there
up
at least
for the past time.
More money? Did you guys get more money?
Yeah, so that's the part that like
I think they had
my mind. It was
a credit card. They had a credit card, and we went out and bought a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, they did. They did a little bit for us, but it was just enough to make it by. I mean, you know what I mean. So it wasn't like, wow, I'm glad that they made a big change. It was just more of like,
what was the serious?
That's crazy.
Hold on. Interrupt you real quick. What was the method of our transactions overseas? Do you remember?
It goes in the mom and dad's bank account.
Dude, they didn't even give us you would think that you would like give a credit card or hey, pull a credit card out in this organization's name. We'll build credit for the organization. We'll put you at a cap of $5,000 a month.
There's no trust. There's no trust at all in the organization for their employees.
They either wired cash or sent cash via mail. I can't remember.
Are you serious?
It was sent cash, and then we had to. It was cash. Then we had to transition into the currency. How we had to change it into there.
I forgot all about that.
Yep. So they're $2.
How old school can you get? You know what I mean?
Yeah, $2 from the States would actually buy you like a actually good meal for a whole day. So it's not like they're giving us millions. It's more like
you're saying $2.
Yes. So that's the transition. Yeah. That's the currency change. It would do that much for us.
So they wouldn't have had to up your guys' pay by very much.
Correct.
So after they left, you didn't notice major all of a sudden now we've got all the
not at all.
Holy cow!
Not at all. And that's what blew my mind is.
Or we were just too traumatized.
I don't want to take that from them because when you see something like that and
maybe it's because it was a charity
hard.
thing.
Maybe it was fake. Maybe they were fake crying. I don't know, but you know what I mean.
But you were like 6 years old.
But they were the general.
Yeah.
Monitor?
So they were
or
super
district
high.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Something.
district kind of.
Something like that.
They had surely they would have had the power to be like, hey guys, we need.
No, they had the power. That they made sure that we were special whenever we were in the States with our furlough, because they sent us to 17,000 churches.
You just gotta fast for 4 years.
Yeah, so they're trying to fatten you up for the next stretch.
Hey, Jesus did a 40 bid. I did a 4-year bid, bro. Come at me. Got street time out here.
Man.
We did have water though, so
You did have water.
You had to boil it.
you had to boil it.
So you're thirsty, right? Now you got to drink hot boiling water.
To wash down the nothing that you had to eat. Holy cow. That's insane to me. So,
And that's a little story that he's telling
it's
you. Like there's a lot of examples. I mean, there's positive and negative examples, but that example right there is kind of like one of the defining moments of where, like, we remember that. Out of all the crazy things, we remember that.
It feels like it was last year. Like,
You know what I mean?
How,
Really?
That's how
and
real
it's not
was.
and it's not like, does it affect us now in life? Probably.
No,
I would say it definitely affects us now for the better, because
you learn something from everyone, John. Like, you literally, from a bad example, you learn how not to do it.
Yeah.
So from a good example,
I know
you
one
learn
thing,
how
I'm not
to
gonna-
do it. You know what I mean? So when it comes to that aspect, it defined us at who we are, because we learned how not to do it.
right.
You know, and
Absolutely.
that's how, like I told you, the employee side, it gave you that story.
Sure.
That's how you learn how not to treat your employees.
So did it almost seem like they didn't care, like in the long run? I mean, so they did, like, they showed the emotion, they got you guys some food, but as far as learning, I mean, anybody in their right mind knows, oh, this ain't going to fix this thing permanently. Like, we got to get these guys some more funding over here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if you
Well,
can eat for that
you
little,
know-
Ken,
you know,
if you're talking like
missions-
$2 American
Yeah.
can make you,
For one
Missions
person for
works
a
all
day.
charity. You know that,
So
right?
easy.
okay,
Yeah.
then that's like,
It's charity based funding.
yeah, it's charity. So why don't what about the top dudes? How about they take a little pay cut? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking
hold
about.
Hold up. It doesn't work that way. Because you know how
Of course it
government
doesn't.
works, right? Government works the exact same way as all
Church
these organizations.
government, yes.
Same way, buddy.
You think you're
Same way.
gonna tax the rich? Psych. That's more of like you're not closing that gap.
Yeah,
That gap gets bigger because, well, the reading that I've been doing is showing me more that the rich are doing a lot of these tax write-offs.
Uh-huh.
I do believe organizations can do the same thing. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a lot of ways around it. So if you're not being a good accountant, just say it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're a part of a big organization that you have a lot of employees and you're not good at accounting, maybe you should hire someone to do it for you.
Yeah, get you around some
But
stuff.
you know what I mean? So that's a bigger picture.
So here's my question then for you guys. Because you guys do take a lot of tact when you're talking about this. I'll say it plainly. Bible Missionary Church and me, there's no lost love whatsoever. I look at them very disdainfully.
Yeah.
I don't
Dude,
care for them.
it makes me wonder how other mission groups, like,
So-
how they're faring.
Yeah.
Like,
So I really don't. I
do
think,
they say anything?
I think
Yeah.
the Bible Missionary Church, and this is just me. This ain't you guys. I don't want this to reflect on
course.
you.
Of course.
Reflect. Baby.
I feel like the Bible Missionary Church is dangerous, and that sometimes I wonder if we're even working on the same team. But that being said, like, how do you guys look at that now? And don't say more than you want to say, but is it like, do you have some animosity towards it,
None
or
at
is it
all.
like,
None at all.
No, it doesn't affect my life.
No, not at all. You can't
I
let
don't.
it.
Yeah.
And you're not eating my lunch. I'm eating it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, you better eat it. You only had one meal a day for the last 4 years.
Anybody that knows me now, I've caught up on all those missed meals. But but
so you just kind of, there's no sense in
None
getting
at
better
all.
over it, nothing like that.
I think if we
you're letting them take control of your life. at
Sure.
that
I think
point.
if both of us stayed with it,
Yes.
I think it
Yes.
would have ate us up,
Yes.
because we would have been looking at people like, I wonder who's running this thing.
So you did this
You know what I
to
mean?
us.
You did this to it. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of holding.
So
a
we just
grudge.
we left. What's it called? Leave and cleave kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
kinda
more
just-
marriage kind of thing.
Yeah,
or-
but we left. We left, and now we're
You doing your thing?
doing our
You're
thing.
making it up.
dude,
Well, I'm
you
just
know,
fine.
And we took the experiences that we had, whether bad and good, and we are who we are today.
It really, I don't know. It's just,
What is interesting though is trying to understand, like Kenny was saying, like, if you're a bad accountant, just say it. You know what I mean? Like, who is the accountant? Like how many people? And I don't know. Maybe it's because now we're all about the information age. So our generation's all about like, we want to know what this is and how this works and what this is. Oh yeah, Google it. Oh yeah, make a phone call. Oh yeah, complain. You know, open your mouth, say something.
Right.
Whereas back then, that information wasn't there. That type of holding people's feet to the fire wasn't there. Like exposure wasn't there. Hillbilly broadcast wasn't there for someone to go on and just rant or talk. You know what I mean? So who's running it? How many eyes looked at it and went, oh yeah, maybe we should say something. Maybe we should do something. You know what I mean? Within the church, but no one said anything.
It's not encouraged. Yeah.
Right. And I've asked people that I mean, today I asked my father, I was like, well, what would you do differently? He says, I necessarily wouldn't do anything different, which I agree with him. I would just maneuver myself around a certain way to say, hey, can you can you Venmo me $5 before Venmo even came around or whatever?
Right.
Send me some money so we can
get a little more fun. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit for this week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
But
well, I think you guys are taking the right approach to it. I mean, there's no sense in sitting around, woe is me. It's over now.
It's a good story. That's all.
Oh, it's a great story. Yeah. Good Lord. I mean,
you learn so much, man.
Yeah.
There's just, it's life. You know what I mean? And the way you view life, really, you can be the victim or the victor, right? So you literally.
Well, nowadays it's the victim, bro. We're doing it wrong.
I know, but that's milking the system that way. I'd like to actually, whenever I come out on top.
I'm all about that milk, dude.
Yeah.
You need some milk. We didn't become famous for no reason.
He's just trying to be a baby otter over here.
Whoa, throw those grapes in my mouth.
Milking it dry. No, but the biggest thing for me is just always learn something, Don't let it take over your life.
Right.
You have to learn. You got to adapt and move on, because I don't see this might be dark, but I don't see the higher ups sending any money anytime soon. So it's going to be it's kind of
You're exactly right.
You just pick it up and go.
You can either stay mad.
Basically, what you're saying is
you can just fix it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see anybody taking a pay cut at the top.
No, not at all.
No, that ain't gonna happen.
That gap's not closing at all anytime soon.
And that's not just to single out this outfit.
Not at all.
No, that's
outfits,
everybody,
man.
Dude.
So much of it's just there's a lot of corruption in there. I tell you what, I get nervous a lot of times.
Yeah, a lot of corruption with
well, like when you go to
what do you call it?
The
inverted funnel.
Oh no! Don't get me started on the freaking inverted funnel.
That's a bunny rabbit hole, dude.
It is a bunny rabbit hole.
What are we at? We're at an hour.
We could hit an hour.
We could hit another hour, dude. I'll go on inverted funnel binge, dude.
Well, I get nervous. Like
that's really enlightening. If you want to hear about that, that's enlightening. You want your eyes open?
Are you into that too, Ken? You like to
listen? Kenny's pretty straight. Kenny has. You heard him about what he's been talking about for the last 20 minutes. Yeah, pretty straightforward.
He's straightforward.
Now wait till we get on the inverted funnel. I'll take you down a bunny rabbit hole.
He'll take you into a sinkhole.
You may
it's
not,
taking the house.
Bro. You may not come back. You may not think the same. You might need to take an extra dose of Adderall to get your way out. I'm serious. Dude.
So, what is this like a Q thing or something like that? Like the inverted funnel?
Mm-mm. No, it's actually it's actually your eyes are open. It's not nobody really came up with it. It's more of you just opened your eyes.
Just see how. Okay, so
just step back and look at the picture.
So I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible.
You can't.
Look how you can't because it gets dirty and dirtier because it involves the spiritual aspect instead of the sectoral aspect of life. So the sectoral aspect of life, which includes the spiritual aspect of life,
what's sectoral?
Sectoral is like non-spiritual, like just like public school.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Like when we went to Christian school, it was more spiritual because that's what they wanted to.
They wanted to emphasize that.
Yeah, that's what they wanted to teach and let
you
remember.
The sectoral colleges or sectoral schools, like it's more of how can we benefit you in this life, to take you to greater heights of success.
Yeah, right.
Whereas in private schools with Christianity involved, it's different. But so it's a mirror effect of the government. So what's the best way to control people? Religion, politics, war, diversion, confusion, all these different manners, right? So what do you think the government uses to control us? At one time, the government probably was honest with our founding fathers, but then again, we don't really know. So what's that? Yeah. So the inverted funnel would be like you have gatekeepers at the very top. So basically, go to your kitchen cabinet.
By the way, why do I feel like our listenership in DC just perked up? All those feds listen to everything like virus. I'm sorry, John.
God. The names have been changed. Keep those. I don't even know how it even goes. What is it? The story's the same.
We changed the events and protect the innocent.
So basically, go to your cupboard, wherever you keep a funnel. Take a funnel out. You see the normal way the funnel works, right? When you want to pour the liquid or the contents of the volume into a jar or glass or something without spilling it, you pour it in what? The wide opening.
Right.
Well, what if you were to flip that opening over? Now you got a small opening at the top. It's easier to plug up. It's easier to control. That's like the flow of information. I think you were talking to a guy on this episode about this, about the internet and like why certain organizations don't use the internet.
Yeah, David Eicher.
Right.
Yeah.
So things like that keep the flow of information down.
Yep.
Well, that's what organizations, non-profitable, charitable organizations do that involve spiritual aspected flows. Like, so if let's say this organization's trying to win souls to Christ, right?
Okay.
What do you think the best way is to recruit people and to keep people within the organization, keep people in the dark if they need to be keeping in the dark, control them via the manual, whatever. Same way with the government. Government does the exact same thing, which you can't fault the government for doing it that way. We created that system as humans. So we're obviously going to have to, like, if we wanted to change that, our generation needs to stand up and change it. I'm not saying with violence. I'm saying just with knowledge. You know what I mean? And that's our generation. We're all about knowledge. We want to know. We want to know.
No, but not
why did I eat one meal a day for 2 years before something happened?
Right. You wanted to ask the question. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
And that's not the government's fault. That's an organizational's fault.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
But now you want to know what. I get it.
Right.
It's like it's time to dig in. We want the information.
Inverted funnel would be the capping off of information. So of course we're not going to say, well, they may give you a BS answer. You know what I mean? But
which they're good at doing.
Especially they've kept some people in these organizations for 30 years, and before it takes them to go, wow, I think I need to step away from it because it's not helping my spirituality anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And how
I
much
think my mom was one of them.
How much control does it go before you're like, yo, this inverted funnel thing or whatever this is blocking me from the extra information that I do need to grow spiritually? That's a problem, dude. Because when it has to do with this life, you can screw people over. Yeah, that'll take effect in the afterlife. But if you're affecting people's souls while they're growing up, and their spirituality while they're growing up,
someone will be accounted for.
Yeah, I would rather kneel before God and go to hell for myself than kneel before God and live like a pious life and have thousands of people behind me like that I led the wrong way.
Their blood on your hands.
You know what I mean? And you can even go as far as saying how many. Here's another aspect.
Well, can I give you a for instance?
Absolutely.
So and I'll leave all the names out of this. This was just told to me recently. There was an instance of sexual abuse that happened in one of the CHM.
You know what's crazy, dude? Not to cut you off. Why does it always have to be sexual? What's wrong with humanity? Why can't it be I beat this dude up out in the parking lot because he didn't believe the way I believed?
Yeah.
It's always has to do something with sex. Do you know, Ken? Do you have something off the top of your head?
You just you don't hear about any of it, honestly.
Yeah, true.
You don't
Sorry,
hear
I didn't cut you off, brother.
But yeah, there is fighting going on. Actually, just recently, you can hear, if you do a little bit of digging, you can find some fighting on like the mission field, if you will. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. So at that
That's
point,
a good point.
at that point,
actually
you
a
don't.
true story.
Yeah, you don't hear a lot of the stuff that goes on. So if you really want to know what's going on overseas, I'd say probably. I don't even know who you would ask about that. You would have to go over for yourself, find out. But
I think that's another point of what you're talking about, the control of information. So like with this one here, there was an instance of sexual abuse that happened. I think it may have happened on a conservative holiness campground at one point, and this has been several years ago. But then it finally came out, and the victim made pretty big deal out of it, as he should have.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the leaders of that group was asked about, have you talked to this person?
The victim.
Yeah. Have you talked to the victim? Just, might be the right thing to do. Just
The
kind of reach
suspect
out.
talk to the victim.
No, the leader of the movement, since this happened on his campground.
Maybe provide some just psychological
be like, hey,
help. Or
sorry, at least sorry. You know what I mean?
Point him in the right direction. Of whatever.
And he said,
I mean, if I got touched, dude, I better get some psychological help.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I think it's only natural if you'd want to try to help out if that happened under, you know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, how do we stop this from happening? But this is, these guys do this all the time as far as just letting it go, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
But this one here, the response was, yeah, that was really bad that happened. I wish he hadn't made such a big deal about it.
Who?
Like in public.
The victim.
The leader said that about the victims. I just wish he hadn't said as much in public as he did about it.
Well, it probably, and it
hurts
probably
the flow of information.
Right, but it probably took him screaming for help.
Of course.
And it's messed up.
Yeah, sometimes especially if you don't heed to the warnings in the beginning.
Like, dude, look at it this way. So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, problem. The reason we're having so much gun control problem, and I get it, it's a sensitive topic. It's a political topic. The reason we're having so much problem is because what? I think personally, it's coming from home. There's things happening in home that these kids are crying out like, dude, I have nothing to live for, so I'm going to create a living video game. And I'm not saying video games are a stem of a lot of these shootings, but I am saying that it does fuel your up fantasies, dude.
Yeah.
And if one of your fantasies is just shooting a place up like GTA, which I'm pretty sure GTA doesn't cause that.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. Yeah.
But like we were talking there, and like, how do you relieve stress? Well, I go to the gym. Dude, some of these kids might not know how to handle the emotional damage or the physical damage or the psychological damage of whatever they're dealing with. So they do things, they lash out, they do things for a cry of help. And that kid or that child or that victim probably not necessarily lashed out, but he probably was vocal about it. And then the audacity of that campground president to say, oh, I wish he didn't do it the way he did it.
Right.
Well, maybe if you would have listened to him, or his parents, or whoever it was, and provided this person help so he could vocalize to somebody who was a therapist, maybe you would have kept it under wraps. Maybe it would have been a private issue, but you didn't, because you don't have any standard operating procedures for problems like that within the church.
No.
None. You don't even have pre-planned responses to it. You don't even have strategies to keep it from happening.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you're willing to sacrifice that victim's soul and livelihood for the betterment of the organization. And that's another thing the government does. What does the government do in the military? I'd rather lose 100 boys than 100 million U.S. citizens. Does the church do that?
Sure.
Does the church go, let's keep that victim quiet? It doesn't even have to be a victim.
Happens all the time.
It doesn't even have to be a victim. Let's keep that bright-minded, smart person quiet for questioning the second work of grace or second work of whatever it is. Yep. I'm confused because I'm not even saved. No questions. Don't ask.
Right.
Restrict the flow of information. Inverted funnel. Keep that person quiet. No, but guess what? People got to lash out now. People have to use violence or be violent with their words to get a response for people to do stuff. And that's what's happening. So screw that guy that said, I wish you didn't go about it the way you went. Because guess what? If you would have handled it in-house.
Well, I'm glad he did do it the way he did because he got a response.
Yes.
That's the big thing. And he actually, I'm sure he got help at that point. And that's the bigger picture. We have to actually think about the bigger picture and not just think of it as in like, oh, the organization failed. Because I think we all know that. But
they do.
Well, yeah, the fact anything man-made, it fails.
Yeah, but
eventually.
But you can mitigate a lot of the what if.
The thing that bothers me though is when they willfully fail. Where it's not just like, oh man, we dropped the ball. It's like, shut him up.
Let me ask
what I mean? It's like, keep him quiet.
Let me ask you
that's
this.
What gets me.
So that's ignorance, right? Do you think that's on purpose, or do you think it's possible to ignorantly sacrifice people's souls, people's spirituality, people's careers?
It's all PR stunt, man. It's all for PR. We have to keep the
name clean, the image clean.
So therefore, whatever we got to do, and usually it doesn't take some big drastic, like, because I'm not saying that like they'll pull a mafia hit on you or something like that to keep you quiet.
No.
I'm not saying that. It usually doesn't take that.
They will blackball you.
You just blackball, you bully them, or you use religion against it. And I'm a believer, but they do this.
Yeah.
God, you want to hurt the work of God. Now, do you really want to do that? And if you're some young, impressionable dude, you have that on your conscience, you don't want to, it's going to work.
It's a scare tactic. And
sure
there's
isn't that weird though?
That's a lot of the stuff that they do. You know what I mean? I think personally, first off, you need to have a relationship between you and God. That's the first thing. And it's not you, then the Bible missionary or an organization, and then God. It's you and God.
Right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
And when you try to shut down someone from, let's say, witnessing, if you will, if you're trying to shut down someone from witnessing, just in general, to a sinner or just to anybody, I do not believe. Well, everything just points that you're not with God,
right?
Because you're fighting against Him, and anybody that fights against God, correct me if I'm wrong, they're not for God.
Yeah,
you're against Him. So I think that you need to recheck yourself if you are trying to get between the soul and God. It should be a combining thing. It shouldn't be, we'll be the break in between,
Well, that's why we broke away from the Catholic Church, if I'm not right.
Back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I know, I don't really know much about the Catholic religion, but I know there was a lot of traditional things that were done within the Catholic Church that kind of took away from that relationship walk with God. And I think that's starting to move into the Protestant movement. A lot of things are getting to the point where it's like, it's not a relationship between you and God, like you were saying, Kenny. It's more of what can you do for the organization, the church. And I think that's why it's so easy to silence people, because like you said, Phil, they're trying to keep the name of the game. You know what I mean?
Yep. Got to keep it clean.
I
think that's one reason why a lot of people in the U.S., they look down on Christianity. And I think they have good reason to, because the version of Christianity that's been presented to the United States has turned into like this bastardized form of it, where it's like that is so screwed up. You've got stuff like that. You've got people adding extra crap in, and then just using scare tactics to keep you in line. And then if like even with the Catholic Church, all those times that those boys were. That those priests was molesting kids, and then they just shuffle the priests around. Right. All the instances of the crap that we all of us, me and you, Miss, we all saw crap that was just like this ain't got nothing to do with the Bible. But that's the version that is shown, and so therefore people get burnt out, and then everybody sits in their church pew like, "Isn't this awful? Ain't nobody here."
Yeah. When did you start to wake up? When did you personally start to go?
Me?
Right.
About
the right answer is when you got out from under the funnel. You're welcome. I got out from underneath the inverted funnel. That's it, dude. That's the end all be all. Like the controlling aspect and the manipulation tactic is so high that it's scary, because you're dealing with forever. You're not dealing with this lifetime.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if you're in the military, thanks for your service and continuing your service, or you work for the government or whatever, you're controlled. They own you, which rightly so, because you're part of a bigger organization.
Yeah.
But if you're part of a spiritual organization, right? They shouldn't be able to manipulate your afterlife. No. You know what I mean? Like they should not be able to say, "Listen, we're going to trash you in this life, which will hurt you in your afterlife." Unless you have strong faith and strong relationship, which the relationship aspect is going away within organizations, because
your relationship is with the organization, not God.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to have any free thinking. We'll think for you.
Exactly.
Here's this manual.
Right.
We've already interpreted the Bible. You don't have to interpret it.
But the information age is here, dude.
Yes. And I think they're going to continue to suffer. Their ranks are going to continue to fall.
Absolutely.
They're going to keep...
because of people
they're going
that
to keep
are in their basement making podcasts.
Exactly right. They're going to keep preaching against us. They're going to keep preaching against Berean holiness. Places like Don Van Zandt because we're telling people, hey, just think for yourself. Screw that mess. Double check everything they say. And so, like for me, I think I understand the inverted funnel a little better now.
Whether they're like you, where you actually you do your due diligence to do your research.
Yeah, well, I try my best.
As a Christian, you do.
Yeah,
I think you do. And my brother, he does his due diligence however me. I don't. Nah. If you find something, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm on the sidelines. I'm drinking my beer. I'm gonna wave my pom poms. You can call me gay if you want, because I am happy. Okay. So you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying they pushed me out. I'm not saying that.
Not at all.
They pushed you guys out.
We were never in.
We were never in. We made our decision,
well,
and we're living our happy.
Experience didn't help none at all. I'm
exactly.
sure.
And so you said you're starting to see how the inverted funnel works.
And so to me, for getting out of it, it was like I did decide to stay stay a believer because I rationalized it. I'm like,
did you?
What's that?
Like when you pulled away from the church, did you feel like you were still, or did you have like this constant inner struggle of like I'm not happy where I am, and I don't feel like I'm supposed to be, or know where I'm supposed to be as a Christian with this organization? Or was it how did you how could you interpret that to somebody, an example?
It's not.
Hold on. That doesn't know what Christianity is or understand what the spiritual aspect you're talking about. Like for me, I can do it super easy. I like to work out, and I like to try to live a healthy lifestyle,
right?
Between a few beers here and there. But for me, if I need to step out of a gym because the gym organization and the club is just whatever, dirty equipment or bad behavior of people, I can pull away from that and I can go to another gym.
Right.
But I'm talking about the physicality. Now, for you spiritually, that's a lot more important. If you believe in Christianity and you believe in the afterlife, like that deals with a lot more serious than just trying to get swole biceps. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it does, but I think the same concept pretty much is how I've applied it. So obviously I'm not no philosopher or nothing, so I would sit and listen, or I would, to me, it's reason. I'll sit and read. I'm like, pretty complicated system we got going on here. You know, the whole world thing, being alive. Seems like somebody did it.
Somebody did it before you.
Like somebody created it. Okay. And so then to me, then it's like, okay, well then I'm going to follow this line of thinking.
Okay.
This is just how I've reasoned it out for myself. And so then it's like, okay, well, there's God, there's this little history here. Seems like, we got this book, and then, then it's easy. I've actually had the thoughts before. It's like, are Christians, are we correct? Or is is Judaism correct?
I think everyone, I think everyone's correct to a certain extent.
Yeah,
so I thought about,
there's not a one way fits all.
So you didn't just, so in my head, this is how I'm thinking. Phil Sparks went. He went, the church done me dirty, but I know Jesus didn't do me dirty. So I'm going to stay with Jesus, and I'm going to see where it takes me. I know that's real rudimental.
If you were at that gym, okay, this gym is trash. I'm not going to give up on fitness.
Right.
And that's the way that's kind of how I've reasoned that, to where I was like, okay, I think there is a God. So if I want to follow Christianity, which I believe is the correct way to do it, well, then how do I find out about Christianity? Is I start just reading the Bible. To me, it was easy. And it wasn't like I sat for hours and hours. It was just like, I mean, especially now with like Google and stuff, you can just like Google, like, where does it talk about this?
Right.
And I've done a lot, and that's when I started realizing
it's amazing.
Hey, they've been lying to me, man.
That's an amazing tool.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
But like you said, just that inverted funnel, I understand more the concept now.
There's only a few people at the top, and what they put down through that funnel to you that's underneath is only coming to you. It's not going anywhere else. But once you step out of that funnel, you can see where they're grabbing the little stuff.
You're just drowning in the information. You're like, what in the world? And some of it's trash. Some of it's useful.
Yeah.
And I get it. Sometimes the funnel helps.
But that's where
you got to be careful who those
God is, though.
You got to be careful who those gatekeepers are. You want your gatekeeper to be God, or you want your gatekeeper to be an organization?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too. Like I
God
can see
or the universe, or whoever the entity you want to believe in.
It does give you a whole different like sense, because I'll see them now and I'll hear their arguments against like people like me.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, you could just like knock the props right up from under that with just simple logic. Like most times they completely dodge the question, but they say it in a way that gets their crowd hyped up where they're kind of like, yeah, man, you told them. And I'm like,
Okay,
dude,
like,
this guy didn't even respond.
Give me an example.
Let me think about this. Okay, so
Give me the stupidest example, because that's what's going to ring true.
we had one a while back. This guy, he was preaching. He was talking about people that are going directly again. He was talking about people like me, you know, a Christian that wears a wedding band and short sleeves and, you know,
people that
believes in using alcohol and cigars and stuff like that. Just a normal person, normal Christian. He was talking about that these people are going against the direct principles of God's word. And that's that's all he says. And so then the question would be, it's in a sermon setting, so nobody can ask, right?
Right. No one can be like,
What's
I disagree.
the principles? Yeah, that would be my question.
Because you see how I just asked you an example? Because you made a statement and I asked you an example.
Right.
You get people more on a basis like that, they're going to learn a lot more.
Exactly right.
A lot more than sitting behind in front of the pulpit. Listen to someone say what they're saying. You know what I mean? They're going to learn a lot more. Dude, I mean, basically have church in here.
Well, yeah.
You probably learn a lot more in here. I think that's why people learn a lot more in Bible studies. I think that's why Bible studies come first in church. Sunday school comes first in church. You know why? Because you learn. It literally says Sunday school.
Right.
Like you literally learn how to be a good steward of the faith.
Yeah.
Before you get yelled and screamed at by this lunatic behind the pulpit.
Dude,
well, maybe not a lunatic, but
you're safe in saying lunatic.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a weird situation, man.
Yeah.
Holy cow. 125. You guys want to wrap it up?
25. You got anything?
It's been a long one. You got anything to add to that, Ken?
No, I was actually trying.
I think he's still traumatized by that one meal, dude. Yo, you were going.
No, it's just the big thing that you this whole like podcast and everything. I think to wrap it up would be, you can jump into something head over heels and usually spoil the whole thing. But you can also jump in head over heels after you do your research, you know?
Yeah.
So you for sure have to do your own research, because at the end of the day, it's your soul at the stake of the end of, you know, at the end of life, it's your soul at stake.
You're basically saying make your decision for your own soul. Don't let an organization make it for you.
It's you. You
good
have
advice.
to, you know what I mean? And
good advice.
And that's a big thing. And I also know that if you follow God, it can't take you wrong. So that's a bigger thing. You know what I mean? Don't let anybody get between you and God. Because as soon as you do that, it can really slow you down in any way. Right.
Yep.
So.
It's happened over and over again in the past. These guys like to do it, and they seem to keep it up. Nobody ever learns.
Yeah.
It's been good having you guys on. It's fun. I like this.
Absolutely, brother.
We do this again. Flew you all the way in from Mississippi to do us, didn't we, Ken?
We will. Absolutely. Charity, you know what I'm saying?
We got one heck of a budget.
We got that charity budget. Charity. You got
I eat 3 times a day.
Oh yeah, we're actually this is actually all a joke. We're recruiting for the Bible Missionary Institute missionary group. We will provide you with 1 meal a day due to the standards overseas in a third country national world. Thank you.
Good luck. Good luck. Let's go so Ken can go get something to eat.